I just have a comment that, oh, here you go, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm reading my Catholic newsletter, Catholic Charities newsletter. Yeah, I just have one comment. So I'm looking at information a little bit, looking for something, and up comes up this, and I'm thanking Clean Water Action for their help with me on my groundwater issues, and also it seems like for our Southern Valley people that have intense, horrible air quality issues. And the Modesto Bee and your director was interviewed in Modesto Bee and made a comment about extra funding that's available for Schaffner and Fresno. And neither of those communities are in Modesto Bee area, and I don't know why they couldn't have also mentioned San Joaquin County. So don't we have extra money for the yard equipment in addition to the regular? That was my only comment, and I've got lots of things to do today, so I'm gonna have to leave you all. Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Mary Elizabeth. We'll definitely note that and get
and
back to you.
I'll see if I can real quick put in the chat if I can find the link still in my browser. All Perfect. Right, and I'll put that in there for you all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the comment.
Mary, this is SB. I think that to follow up, if you have to leave from the meeting, we can make sure that you get like a copy of the notes or something that kind of goes over that as to when the funding will be made available and what the action item will be with that, because I think that they did it. I mean, this is just my thought process. They might not have announced it because the date is just coming out. Like, we don't actually have the funding in the AB 617 component for the lawnmower yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're on mute, Mary Elizabeth.
Muted.
I thought that was standard and available some time ago.
I can
for implementation. Probably, we're in the second year of implementation yet. Yes, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes. I mean, the funding is currently available, just to kind of clarify that. So at this point, once the SERP was approved, the money can begin getting spent, and the lawn and garden equipment is actually one of the measures that is like a pre-approved measure through the Community Air Protection Funding Guidelines. Mary Elizabeth, I'm wondering, I need to kind of see the framework, or kind of, I guess, what the article is about, but I'm hypothesizing, speculating that maybe part of the reason why those two communities were called out is because they've actually had pretty aggressive campaigns to get those deployed, and they're actually out there. They've had actually big events where they've actually had people show up and pick them up, and so those measures in those two communities are pretty much all spent already, whereas they're really not even getting off the ground yet in Stockton. So, you know, I can only speculate that that would be the reason why Stockton was maybe not mentioned specifically when he was talking about those, but I haven't seen the article. So but that's just kind of an initial thought that I had, since those were the two first-year communities.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott, for jumping in. And Elizabeth, if you can share those articles and whatever information you can share with us, please do so, and then we can definitely circle back. So let's begin our meeting. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. We have quite an interesting agenda today, and we're very excited to see a lot of people joining today's meeting. So before we begin, I think it'll be great to mention for the ease of interpretation to please, if you speak, please speak slowly so our interpreters can capture anything and everything that's being discussed. And if you have to speak, please introduce yourself, state your name, and then before we move on to our next agenda item, I would really like to introduce one of our new team members, a new team member in the Community Strategies and Resources team. We have Eric Salas, who's joining us this afternoon. And so Eric, I'm pretty confident you have met a couple of our members in previous meetings, but I don't know if you'd like to say your name and the department and then what your function will be.
Yes, so my name is Eric Salas. I am under Jessica Olson's team here working with AB 617. And as Juan Luis stated, I will be working with the community. I'm definitely excited to meet you all. I have definitely met some of you, so hello again. And I look forward to being on this team. I've been with the Air District for about 3 months now and have recently been moved under AB 617. So I hope to see you all in the future. Thank you very much, Juan.
Thank you, Eric. And so with that being said, I am gonna go ahead and share our agenda for today. I just shared that on the chat box. And so we'll begin with our action items. We're gonna go over those and then we'll move on to the next topics as well. Let me share my screen and please let me know if you're able to see the list of action items. Let me get those. Okay, please let me know if you're able to see those. Perfect. Is that font size good? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit or is that fine?
Can you make it a little bit bigger, Juan Luis?
How's that?
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's begin with the very first one. The very first action item is the Valley Air District will email boundary map to subcommittee. In partnership with the subcommittee, we were able to develop a boundary map that is pretty much intended to be used at different community events. And so we have completed and emailed that copy to the entire subcommittee. And then also we are currently working on printing out a boundary map to use at different outreach events. We're still working with our team internally and we'll circle back with the group in terms of how many copies, how many printouts we want to get for the group. The next action item is Valley Air District to add funding disclaimer to materials. It's already been added to the boundary map. And so I kept this as ongoing because we can totally add it to any collateral that the group develops. So that's something that we can incorporate in any marketing materials that we can create as a group. The following is district will continue developing SERP mapping exercise with subcommittee feedback, including locations of existing bike paths and chargers. I know we had a conversation with the group on this item at the previous meeting, so we're definitely going to continue the conversation. And if the group has any suggestions in terms of locations for this particular item, please feel free to reach out and provide that information to us as well. The next one is district will reach out to the San Joaquin Council of Governments to follow up on results of Stockton Mobility Collective survey and City of Stockton for bike path project locations. Our team will be following up with SJ Cog, and then we'll circle back with the group with any results that maybe they were able to obtain from that survey. And the last one is SP to share virtual workshop write-up process with the team next week. So I know SP has been finalizing that process and she's hoping to share more information and details in the next week. So those are the action items from the previous meeting. I don't know if there are any comments or any questions about any of those before we move on to our next agenda item. Hearing none, I think we're good to go to our next agenda item. All right, and then with that, I will pass it to Jonathan.
Thanks, Juan. The next agenda item we have is leveraging the mini grant program. I believe that SB had a little bit of a background onto like the framework that it meant for in-person. I think what I've been doing behind the scenes has been sort of really reaching out to organizations that have been really interested in this work. I have reached out to those who are already involved in the TCC work, as well as in the STEP program. And I am also reaching out to those who are part of the Rise Stockton Coalition and those that aren't part of the Rise Stockton Coalition. And so right now they are slowly and surely trying to figure out if they would like to be a part of this program or be able to do outreach for us. And one of the biggest things that they asked for was, of course, doing a, if they were to do this, are they going to be given a sort of a training? And if they do training for outreach, what will it look like in person or virtual? And will there be a script and that sort of thing. So as I've been assessing, that's like preparing of what we need to get ahead of time for them. The next thing would be to then also figure out, based off of the map, you know, who has worked in these areas before, and like assess which ones have done work in downtown and South Stockton. There's a few of organizations, special organizations that I didn't even know about. I have a list of I have some of those. I've added additional list of organizations that do a little bit of work in South Stockton. So I'll be actually inputting this in the, I believe we still have that contact sheet. Juan, do we still have something on that? Okay. So I'll incorporate that. It has everything. It's pretty much well updated. I was able to work with UOP to help with that. And that's, I think the only other thing that I've been looking at has been sort of what are some resource fair events that have been happening. They've been happening pretty fast. Some of them have been working within own coalitions or collaborations. And so it's, of course, I don't know. I'm not aware of when those resource fairs happens until like on social media. So I'm really trying my absolute best. But of course, I always ask for residents and for community partners that are part of AB 617 to really help search out those resource fairs that are happening. They could be small, they could be big. Those really will help us decide, and hopefully at least a month or even 2 months in advance helps us sort of determine when, like who to bring, who to be part of the outreach. And then if we need to find an actual like another organization that's not us that would like to be part of it. The other approach I actually have been thinking about has been sort of looking at those who are hosting or sort of who are collaborating in the events and just instantly reaching out to them. The only awkward way of doing that is that I've never met them before, and so it's a new sort of thing. Me coming up to them, be like, "Hey, would you like to?" I'm not used to it. I like to build a relationship first and build some trust, and then I provide them information. So that's what I'm doing on my end. I really would like to sort of see from SB side. Does she have any other opportunities or ideas to structure sort of a framework so that it is pretty much scale across the board from everyone?
Yeah, so to your point, this is SB. To your point, Jonathan, there are some opportunities that we can and will be at. And so I will go ahead and we can add those to the Google Doc. We're working with our partners, for example, the San Joaquin Urban Native Collective. So that council that is made up of urban natives, they're going to have a powwow. And they will be reaching out directly also to the Air District, because I think it'll be good to do a similar type of setup like we did in Earth Day, where we already have our table set for EJCW with all the various campaigns and programs, including AB 617, and then have Air District staff available there that can answer additional questions. So that's because that's a big event, the powwow that will take place at the University of Pacific in September, and I'll get the date and the flyer and forward that so that that can be added to our Google document. There's also additional fairs and crowd canvassing events we will be at, and we can add that on there. One of the things that I think would make a cohesive structure is that regardless of the event that we're at, whether it's us or one of the partners for the crowd canvassing component, is if we develop a some type of data input and basically piggyback off of what's already been created. For example, we have an event, we have a campaign that's coming up where we have to gather data, and we're putting together, we're working with Valley Can on this. They already have a huge platform that is through Salesforce. And we are going to then put the component for this particular campaign and see what the cost is. And they will then, we'll utilize that for the outreach campaign that we're doing. In the case of AB 617, if we were to do something similar, I could do the ask, but this way, as we compile the information, we're doing the outreach. It's not just a simple Google spreadsheet that we're doing, but in fact, these people have opted in. They will know about all the programs that are currently funded, those that are upcoming and receiving funding, and we would have like a checklist type of system that indicates they are interested in certain programs. They will choose whether they want to receive this information by email, by text, by phone call. And I think that's a more cohesive way in which we can gather the data as we are at all these events. And then we can have a training for anyone who's going to have outreach in this capacity. We could videotape it, and we would, EJCW could do that. That's not a problem. And we could then distribute that to everyone so that they would know and have an indication of the platform, and they would have like their own sign in, login. So that was my thought process, and I'm going to have further discussion. I wanted to bring that to you all first and see what you thought, because this way we're not reinventing the wheel each time, but we're in fact gathering the information cohesively, and the community is constantly then kept informed, and we can keep track of what's going out to them, the messaging, besides us having these events and participating in them and outreaching to our database. But we're in fact keeping track of all of our outreach methods, as well as the individual resident and how they want to continue to communicate with us.
Thank you very much, SP, for sharing that. I don't know, I think it'll be great to get some feedback and thoughts from the rest of the members on SP's idea, and obviously on Jonathan's ideas. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions, either for SP or Jonathan?
This is Margot. I just want to say, I think that's an excellent idea, because not reinventing the wheel is my goal of a lifetime.
I think if there's an opportunity to use one of the days for community engagement, the community outreach meetings as the training, in addition to the actual doing another separate video. I think that would be helpful because I know for sure people don't really follow through with looking at the recording. It's a little bit tricky to like really look at it. Whereas if it's actually in the, this is Jonathan, sorry, I always forget. In the meeting, people will be able to ask specific questions on the walkthrough.
This is SB. Yes, we can absolutely do that, and we can coordinate. I wanted to bring it to the group first and foremost to move ahead with the process.
Thank you, SB. Thank you, Jonathan. SB, and would you be able to maybe share some type of information via email with the group on the process and just in case anybody has additional questions or would like that as a follow-up?
This is SB, yes.
Thank you so much. Any additional questions for SB or Jonathan? Or any suggestions, comments? Hearing none. Jonathan, I guess we're good to go to the next item in the agenda, which is invite strategic contacts to maximize outreach efforts. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on your idea.
Yeah, I think the other thing was, you know, we talk about certain organizations to bring into this. This is Jonathan, sorry. So the person who has thought of bringing in new folks, Leonard brought in a few, which we've connected with behind the scenes. I am incorporating a contact sheet, but I'm trying to sort of see if there are any additional folks that I might be missing that people may have. So if you check the contact sheet that I included, or that Juan included in the chat, I just added to it. It might be copy and paste from the top parts, but almost everyone is on there. I'm wondering if anyone has any point of contacts with these specific folks that are on here. If you could quickly sort of check into this, because that usually helps us out ahead of time. To be able to, if you have the contact, please share it, because I only have the website, and I would have to actually individually go to each and every one of them, find through their website the contact, and sometimes they don't have their email. If anyone can let me know.
Can you hear me, Jonathan? This is Brianna.
Hey, Brianna.
I joined a little late, so I don't have access to the link. Can someone please resend it?
Thank you.
This is Juan. Yeah, this is Juan Luis. I'll go ahead and resend it, Brianna.
Thank you.
Okay, I just started, and this is Juan Luis again. Thank you, Jonathan. And I think this is a great reminder for the group to really keep looking into this document and start populating it as you're able to review and maybe incorporate some of your key contacts, any strategic contacts that maybe you consider could help us with the outreach efforts for the outreach subcommittee. So this is a reminder / invitation for the group to revisit the document and maybe think about some partners that could potentially help the group with the outreach efforts. So.
One question or one idea that I just realized when looking at the websites on outreach, for the outreach subcommittee website, is there a possibility to be able to tap into this or put the contact sheet onto the, like on the top part where it says outreach subcommittee measures?
I can definitely, go for it.
Sorry, this is Zong. We'll have to check on that because this is, I'm looking at the document right now and it's a Google Doc. And so we're gonna have to check on that because we've not put up Google Docs in the past on the website. So let me check on that, and either I or Steph will definitely get back to the subcommittee on that.
Okay, and if there's something to where we can get this and develop as a PDF, I don't know what PDFs look like on spreadsheets, so I have no idea. But if it works well enough to where it could be put on as a PDF, will that work?
If it's a PDF, yes, we can definitely post it. But you know, it's definitely a good idea to explore. So I don't want to say no to it for the Google Docs, but at minimum, yes, a PDF we could definitely share online.
Okay. Nate, I know you have a connection with the Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Who's the point of contact for that?
Primarily it's Leslie Edmond, but it can also be me because I'm the board chair. In fact, we have a board meeting tonight. And I'm actually just sending you a chat message about adding the Stockton Downtown Comeback Club to the contact list, which I just looked at. I will add that the Comeback Club is simply my email, but I'm putting in the chat right now. So if you send something to my email that I'm putting in the chat, you can get something to both the Stockton Downtown Comeback Club, which meets every Thursday morning in downtown Stockton and has connections to a lot of people, and to the Asian Chamber. So, and then I'll put Leslie's email address in there also.
Great, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think the other move that we will do is speak with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, all the other Chamber of Commerces.
Jonathan, this is SB. Sorry to interrupt. On the iHub contact it's a one-shot deal, and I think that I might have mentioned this before, and I know that I think we're going to coordinate like with the Air District to also have, I'm on the board with the iHub. So then there's like where you can, everyone in terms of there's advisory council that's present there. I could put it on the agenda as an announcement. We can make a presentation about it. Then it goes out to all of those listservs, all of the people that are on the board, even though it's a wider range than just the AB 617 area, because it's all the cities in the county, but the Hispanic chambers there, the African American chamber, the Asian chamber, the Port of Stockton. There's quite a bit of other advisory council that's part of that committee that's outside of the board, but attends the board meeting itself. So I can ask for that to be added on there, and I can make that presentation and see if staff is available to add to that. And they're already aware of it, but to actually send something out, the messaging, flyer, what have you, and they can send that out to their database or databases, because there's quite a few members. And that way you don't have to go to individual chambers and different orgs that are already a part of that board.
Okay. Just going back to the question, so SB did provide the answer about being able to contact iHub. Are there any other folks that have connections or any groups that need to be added onto here?
This is Margot, Jonathan. You have Faith in the Valley here, but you don't have a contact person. Is there no contact person?
I am going to have to, this is Jonathan, I am going to have to.
Okay, so I can ask Jerry Bigby or Dick Abood if they would connect with them. And also the Stribley Park Community Center, I know someone that was very interested in what we're doing. He couldn't join us as a member because he has health issues, but they're involved there. Should I reach out to him? Are you looking at all that kind of stuff?
Please, yes.
Okay.
And this is Juan Luis again. Jonathan, I think this would be a great opportunity for maybe just highlight the meeting that we had with the city of Stockton and their willingness to work with us to maybe place some signage on some of their facilities and parks. So I think it would be great to highlight that the city is open to work with the group and then willing to coordinate some outreach efforts and pretty much opening their doors to place some signage out there, whether it is at a park, community centers that they have access to. So that there's another opportunity there if you want, if the group is interested in tapping that opportunity and maybe just coordinating with the city and get more information out there as well. I don't know if you have anything additional to add, Jonathan, if I missed anything or.
They provide, they gave me the same contact list that this is Jonathan, contact list that I've had for years or a couple of years. It needs to be updated. I think the other approach would be the newspaper, and I'm trying to get in contact with the new newspaper that people are connecting with, which is stocktonia.org. So I just need to get an in so we can post an actual outreach campaign onto their as an article in one of these days. But that's pretty much it. I mean, unfortunately, we cannot do mailing inserts. I don't know what SB if you got anything from Cal Water, but they are very strict now on, even PG&E is very strict on not allowing us to put things in their inserts.
This is SB. Yes, the same thing. I was not able to get us access, and like the city representative said, that it's costly and it wasn't effective.
Thank you, SB. Yeah, so I guess does anybody have any additional comments on any other strategic context to maximize our outreach efforts? I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge organization, as long as they have a reach within the AB 617 boundary of the community. It doesn't have to be a big organization. Anybody or any group that could help the outreach subcommittee spread the word and really get this information in front of the target audience that we're really trying to reach. I think that would be a great opportunity for us to get in front of people and to get this information out and just get them interested, get him interested in the programs and all of the different resources and services that are available through the AB 617 community. So again, it doesn't have to be a Chamber of Commerce. It doesn't have to be a CBO. There are sometimes community groups. And so if anybody within this outreach subcommittee has any of that information, please feel free to include that into the contact network sheet, and then we'll be happy to coordinate and maybe reach out to you and to those members as well, to those organizations as well.
This is Jonathan. I'm going to push again on SUSD. They literally just voted on a new superintendent. I am going to try my absolute best to push from the board members to connect me with the superintendent so that we can get at least AB 617 air monitoring or air quality as a standard for this school or for the district. And I'm going to really push to if we can get if there's a feedback loop, if there's a way we can really get we can loop in materials through their peach jar application that they use from their students. I've done one time a post through the Peach Jar, and unfortunately it is very competitive, or like they're very strict as to what it needs to be. And so I'm hoping to at least build somewhat of a connection with the communications team so that we can sort of get vetted in correctly. Because I guess, I mean, it doesn't look good. I know Catholic Charities coming to some, public schools, it doesn't look that like, they don't find a connection, but if it's an actual like Valley Air district, I think it's a little bit better. So I'll continue on that route.
Thank you, Jonathan. And so this is for school engagement, right?
Yeah, just for like the incentive programs, like sharing out once the incentive programs come out, like putting them into the students so their parents could see it.
Got it. So maybe one thing to keep in mind is obviously the school year. So, schools are not operating at this particular moment. So maybe just keep that in mind as we coordinate reaching out to the schools as well.
This is SB. The schools are having what's called through their community centers. I received the flyer and we did for the COVID vaccination outreach event it's called Summer of Love. And it's basically like resources that are available to the parents, the immediate community around that school. And I believe they still have some dates available. So I'll check into that and get back to everyone.
This is one list. Thank you so much, SB. Are there any additional comments, any suggestions in terms of contacts, community-based organizations that maybe the group has in mind or would like to share with the group before we move on to our next agenda item? Hearing none, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is updates on in-person outreach and community events. So I know some of our group members have been quite active in terms of engaging with the community at different community events. For example, SB had an event last Saturday, and I think it'll be nice to hear from her, what was the engagement like, and just give us a little bit of information about the outreach efforts that her and her team put into practice last week.
So again, this is SB, and we were in attendance at the Tune In, Tune Up event that took place at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds this last Saturday. We had approximately 6 of our canvassers on hand so that they could answer questions, give out information. We gave out, in order to entice people to come to our table, besides giving out flyers, the Air District supplied us with some swag. And in addition to that, we also had the COVID tests that were very popular that we gave out, as well as other materials such as masks and hand sanitizers. So we're trying to engage the community by providing this type of materials so that they can then therefore come and find out more about AB 617. We did have signups, so we will get the total numbers and the amount of signups that we had. And again, we're looking to have the map so they can see what the region looks like that would qualify and if they live in that area. However, for those of you that have had the opportunity to go to a Tune In, Tune Up event, it is quite large. So there's at least 200 plus vehicles. And so there's a lot of engagement opportunity, but at the same time, you have to entice them to be able to come to your booth. So that's what we did with the other campaigns that we have as far as the COVID outreach that we do. And so there was quite a bit of engagement, and I will share again a follow-up more detailed report, as well as photos and what have you of the event. But that's a very good opportunity to engage, and we will continue to do so throughout the summer with other events. And I will keep everyone posted on as far as what are the upcoming events, and that way if people want to help or stop by.
I just realized there is an upcoming event. Let's see. So it's happening on August 6th. No, it's not happening August 6th. I just lied. This is Jonathan Pruitt. It's happening on August 4th. Hello, it's pretty close. We are going to be there. This is for TCC. It's a resource fair for, it's really supposed to be direct on the information, on the sort of the work that the solar panel company or the solar installation nonprofit is doing, as well as the weatherization nonprofit Rising Sun. I will be there in attendance to do more of the outreach on AB 617. I mean, I will share it out, I'll share it amongst everyone if they would like to come. It is going to be happening at Van Busker. And there's going to be food. I'll share the flyer and everything. Trying to remember what was the other event that's happening. Oh, yes. Let me see. I just got an invite to one. Unfortunately, it is happening in, let's see, July. I think it's July 22nd. This is part of the Public Health Advocates their REACH program, Community Summer Bash. It is happening at Progressive Community Church, located at 2820 South B Street. I haven't looked. Does anyone on top of their head know B Street is in South Stockton?
Yes,
It is, Jonathan.
Oh, dope, cool. All right. Then we're invited to attend. If folks would also like to attend, I'll share it out after this call. Will we be able to have Valley District, the map ahead of time to be able to showcase it, or do we have to use the map that we used again, that we made?
This is Juan Luis. This is for this 22nd, right, Jonathan?
Yes.
Let me check with the team, and hopefully we're able to. If that is the case, we'll definitely circle back with the team, but we can definitely try to get it done by then.
Okay.
And so this is Juan Luis again. If I may follow up in regards to community events, I have an open invitation for the group. I will be in the city of Stockton on this Saturday. So we're going to be participating at a backpack jamboree and resource fair in Conway Homes. And so we're going to be there sharing information about the Air District, and then of course sharing information about the AB 617 community. So if anybody from the Outreach Subcommittee would like to join me as we engage with the community and with the community members there, please let me know. I'll be happy to share the flyer, more information about the event with the entire group. And then also, the next Saturday, I will also be at the community Stockton. I will be joining the African American Chamber of Commerce for their first annual business conference event. And then again, we'll have a booth there, and then also highlighting and sharing information about the AB 617 community. So if anybody's available and willing and interested in joining the outreach effort, I'll be more than happy to share that information with whoever's interested, and then more than happy to share with the group in case you are available to join. And then this is Juan Luis again. I know SP spoke about data gathering and information gathering, and Jonathan actually suggested to create like a sign-up sheet. And so we here at the district developed interest sign up sheet, or and we would like to share with the group. And this was actually included in the agenda. So we just wanted to share with the group and get your feedback on it, and see if this is something that you would like to utilize at the different community events as you're engaging with the public, and obviously gathering their information, whether they would like to receive information about AB 617 and its resources via text, email, etc. So I just put the link on the chat box. And so if anybody has any suggestions, any questions on the form, please do let us know. We'll be more than happy to update as needed.
Juan Luis, this is Jonathan Pruitt. Question for this interest sign up sheet. Oh, this is just for the sign up for those who are interested just in like the incentive programs and things. Is there we have already developed the information, like the event list of like the events that are happening soon, and then we have a group. Can we sort of show people where that is as well? Because I think what we will have to do, if we want to really make sure this is easy to understand, again, I think we will all need the training, but really setting sort of like, here are the steps of like exactly like what to, okay, you hear event happening, put event on paper, sign up for it, or let others know to sign up for it. Make sure you have a spot at a table over there. If you need materials, speak with so-and-so to get materials or to get the map or whatever. And then make sure you print up the interest form and get all the other materials. Then give interest form, take a picture, whatever it is. I think we just need the steps for folks. I don't know if folks feel the same way, but I literally just thought of this on top of my head too. So like I feel like this would help me out. I don't know if other folks would feel to help them out.
This is Juan Luis. Thank you, Jonathan. And obviously that's a great suggestion. And we're more than happy to work with the group. Whatever you guys consider can help, with you being effective with the outreach efforts. We're more than happy to explore any ideas. And just like you said it, I would really like to hear from the group to see if this would help them as they engage with the community members, as they do outreach, conduct outreach events or speak with the public about AB 617 or the programs. I think this is a great opportunity to hear from the rest of the members to see if maybe like a flow chart or a process, page would be supportive for your outreach efforts. So does anybody have any feedback on this idea?
This is Margot. I don't have it specifically on that, but with the interest sign-up sheet, if there's room, Juan Luis, I always like an area where they for extra notes, because when people have specific interests, it's kind of nice to jot that down somewhere or have them jot it down. See if you can fit another column.
This is Juan Luis. Absolutely, Margot. That's great feedback. And obviously, we can definitely accommodate that change.
Regarding the outreach effort flowchart, Juan Luis, I would appreciate that, and I would find that very helpful, actually.
Thank you, Brianna. Does anybody have any additional feedback on that idea, or any comments? Well, it sounds like we're gonna have a flow chart, so that's really good to know. And then, just like I said it, if you think about any additional ideas that can help you, with your outreach efforts, we're more than happy to explore those and support as much as we can. And so we're definitely gonna be coordinating with Jonathan on that flow chart or that process chart, and then we'll circle back with the group and provide that for additional feedback and suggestions.
This is Jonathan Pruitt. one thing I just also realized that it may randomly happen on the street where you are speaking with someone and someone would like to learn more about incentive programs, and you so happen to not have a flyer. I mean, who has flyers, you know? If there's sort of an easy way to be able to make sure that they have it on their cell phone, and that's, you know, for me, I sometimes do it bookmarked, but sometimes I do individual specific links onto my screen, like my desktop of my phone, just so I can instantly click it and it goes straight, like it's an icon, it instantly goes straight to the link of the website. And then it also provides a QR code for people. Like I would have to zoom in from it's the flyer, and having to zoom in a little bit for them to be able to capture it. I'm trying to see if if that could be another option for a training, in explaining folks like how to be able to capture it when you're not having a flyer, how else to get people, because it will be pretty hard to having to, all right, let me go through my internet, let me type in the website. You don't know what the website is, or you don't have it saved. This way it'd be instantly quick.
This is Juan Luis. SP, I think I'm gonna rely on your expertise here. Have you guys implemented during your outreach activity and engagement anything like Jonathan just described? And if so, has it been effective?
Very effective. And so what we do is for again, this is SB, for the vaccinations is the state has their sign up. So we go directly to that on our phone. And so we would have to see how we could work with the district. So instead of what Jonathan was describing, which is a good way, have a bookmark, what have you. But if there was, we could send them directly through that portal to the direct page on the website about the AB 617 Stockton page, then it'll make it a lot easier for all of us to have that information. So I can share with you what we use like with the state, and that way to see if there's anything similar that maybe they can develop as a link to the website that goes directly to AB 617 programs for Stockton. So they could then get the application and determine if they're in the area. Anything that we want on there, I think would make it facilitate the process. So that's a good point that Jonathan brought up. As we do all of our outreach, facilitates the process.
This is Jonathan. I think another thing, because sometimes it can be a little cumbersome when trying to zoom in on the flyer, just maybe having a QR, maybe designing a QR code, a way. I think you can make it on Adobe or whatever you guys use on the screens, directly on the screen where it can be utilized on a phone. And it's a big enough QR code where people can instantly click in instead of having to really zoom in, zoom out. It'll be a fixed thing. Not sure if you guys have, like Valley District has done that before or not.
Hi, Jonathan, this is Zong. Yes, I believe we've done something similar for the Fresno CSC. So if we haven't done one for Stockton, I don't see why we couldn't do something similar to that.
Awesome. Thank you, Song. All right, so are we good with the information and updates on in-person outreach community events? Does anybody has any additional events that maybe they're aware of, or maybe they have coming up, or they consider that we should be keeping in mind as we plan for in-person outreach community events? Okay, I see that there are no comments, so I guess we're gonna move on to our next agenda item, which is selecting the date and time for our next meeting. So we have Friday, August 19th at 2 p.m. I would like to confirm with the group and making sure that this works for all of you and see if you have any feedback on the date and the time for next month's meeting.
This is Jonathan. What again?
Friday, August 19th at 2 p.m.
That works for me.
Works for me also. This is Brianna.
This is SB. It works for me too.
Perfect. So sounds like we're set. Go for it, Margo. I'm sorry.
No, it works for me too. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so seems like we are set for Friday, August 19 at 2 p.m. And so we're going to move on to our last agenda item. And I believe, unless there are any questions before we move on to our next agenda item. Okay, no questions. I thought I heard something, but our last agenda item is pretty much related to, I'm assuming, what Mary Elizabeth was talking about, which is residential lawn and garden. So obviously the plan has been submitted, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, to carve, and it usually takes about 60 days for us to hear back from them. But I think it'll be great for the group to start maybe brainstorming about some outreach ideas as to how to get this information out. We are hoping, fingers crossed, to get this by, end of the summer. And so I think it'll be great for the group to start thinking about what are some of the ways that maybe we could get this information out to the public whenever this is ready to implement. So I just wanted to pose the question out to the group, and then just ask you to maybe start thinking about some of the outreach ideas to get information on residential lawn and garden to the Stockton AB 617 community as well. So Jonathan, I don't know if you have any ideas, SB, or the rest of the group. I think it'll be great to start planting that seed and maybe start thinking about, how do we get prepared for whenever this is ready to go.
This is Jonathan. I know there is neighborhood night that's coming up. I have no idea who's doing what. I do know that the market, or the Yosemite Street in like middle of Stockton, I believe they're still in the boundary zone. No,
Yes,
maybe
yes,
not.
yes, they are for AB 617. Yes, they are.
Okay. I just realized that might be a potential to really get people motivated to look at the lawnmowers. I haven't heard anything about any other neighborhood groups or neighborhood. Wow, what is it called? Not neighborhood watch. I don't know what it's called. What's that? What
It's
day
the
does it usually
National
happen?
Night Out. This is SB, National Night Out.
It's
Is
on
that
the
what you're talking
first Tuesday or first Thursday of the August.
It's on Tuesday, August 2nd.
I think you're talking about two different things. I think, what are you talking about, Jonathan? The Yosemite-
National Night Out.
National, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
my mistake. You're right.
Yeah.
But Nate also has in the chat, he put in a Main Street, Market Street fair in downtown every Thursday night in August. Is that a farmer's market at all, Nate? or-
Yeah, yes, it's a brand new thing. I just talked to the people who are putting it together. There's a little gift store. There's also a co-op store inside the courthouse plaza building called Maker's Made. And they've organized the whole thing, and they're building it up for August 4th. It'll be every Thursday in August. Real quickly about Yosemite Street, which I was just typing in right now. They currently have a farmer's market every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And so there's those are opportunities for outreach. Now,
Okay.
the Main Street Market, I should add, is going to close Main Street at the place where the Courthouse Plaza building is. The Courthouse Plaza building is a building that's catty corner across the street from the old county courthouse and half a block from the Bob Hope. And it has a lot of things in, it's an inside building primarily. And it was once known as the marketplace and the greenhouse. So, but that is new.
Nate, would you be willing to get contact and seeing if you can share the flyer for that?
Yes, I can get everybody information for the Main Street Fair. I just got flyers from it today. I'll
Okay.
get the information to SB, and SB can get it all out to all of you, since she has all of your contacts already.
And is that something AB 617 should actually be a vendor for, or no?
I possibly, I don't, yeah, it is downtown, so that's smack in the middle of the footprint of everything for AB 617. So if you can think of where Main Street and San Joaquin Street is, that's what I'm talking, a half a block from the Bob Hope Theater.
And it'll be indoors and on the street?
Yes, it'll be indoors. So for people who, the building indoors has some vendors inside and it's air conditioned, but I think the main fair is going to be on the street. But as far as I understand, it's going to be both in the building and on the street.
Nice.
Thank you, Nate. This is Juan Luis. And again, please feel free to share those details and we'll be more than happy to revisit those. And so we're 4 minutes over the hour, so just to respect everybody's time. But before we conclude, I would really like to highlight one particular slide from the previous presentation that was presented to the general CSC meeting during the general CSC meeting last month. And so please let me know if you're able to see my screen. Let's see if I can share. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can. see it.
Okay, perfect. So going back to the residential lawn and garden plan. So I know this is going to be part of the conversation at the next meeting, but and then I understand that there was a comment made about the 50 lawnmowers that are included in the SERP. So there is the potential to increase to 300 if you know they move $125,000 of funding from another measure. So please be aware of this. This is a great opportunity for the group to get excited about. We're not only going to have 50 potentially, hopefully potentially 50 lawnmowers, but there's a potential opportunity to increase those to 300 if this is what the group considers doable. So keep this in mind, and this is going to be part of the conversation at the next CSC general meeting. So I just wanted to close with that and see if there are any questions about it. And I know Jonathan was one of the persons that really wanted to increase those 50 lawnmowers to a higher number. So that is going to be part of the conversation during the next CSC general meeting. And so this is what I wanted to share with you. I don't know if there are any last comments, last questions. And so
this is Jonathan Pruitt, and it's not voting, it's just general discussion. And then if the CSC wants to discuss a vote, it would happen the next meeting.
Is that a question for me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's to be honest with you, I cannot answer that question, but I know the discussion is going to be there. I don't know if Scott may have any additional information, but to my understanding, the discussion is going to begin on the how to reallocate some of the funding to accommodate for a higher number of lawnmowers for this particular measure.
I know that kind of how it's worked in Shafter and the other communities is there's been some discussion about the possibility of reallocation, and if the group can reach consensus, typically there's no objections. We just they move forward and do it with no objection. Otherwise, I think if it's going to end up seeming like it may be voted on, they would typically, my understanding is at the air district level, because I believe it's part of the charter of this group, that they would actually indicate in the agenda if there's a planned vote on the subject or not. So I would say maybe watch the agenda. If you don't see anything about a planned vote, they may just simply try to reach consensus. If that doesn't happen, then it may end up being deferred to a vote for the following meeting. If it looks like it comes down to a vote, that's, I believe, how it would likely play out.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott. This is one.
Juan Luis, I wanted to make sure I did put something in the chat. Just, I wasn't able to access the article that Mary Elizabeth linked in because it's subscription only. So I'm not able to easily look at it and answer kind of what her questions were, but wanted to make sure that somewhere along the way we had a commitment to find out that article and loop back to Mary Elizabeth. Might be actually, that might fall in Jamie's camp, I'm not sure, but wanted to make sure that we did follow through on that commitment.
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. And we actually do, I believe we have an account that we're actually going to be able to access and get that information back to you, and hopefully get back to Mary Elizabeth. And I believe Sung has a comment.
I have it. Oh, sorry. This is long. I have it down as one of the action items for today's meeting. So
Fantastic.
and so yep, we'll follow back with her. And then I just wanted to add to Jonathan. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to mention it earlier when you were talking about reaching out to Stockton Unified. I did want to mention that, when you do reach out, please let us know, because we also have our Healthy Air Living Schools program, and we also work closely, we're trying to work closely with, Stockton Unified as well. So if you want to touch base with us, we can see, maybe we can collaborate and see what we might be able to do, maybe, with both of us, working together to try to, get something on the peach jar that might be possible. So.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are gonna be in.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you'll for sure be in. I'm not gonna go without you guys. Just as Jonathan, the article has nothing to do with AB 617. It's your typical article, your typical program from the Clean Green Yard Machines program that's outside of AB 617 funding.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, Jonathan. We'll definitely revisit it and follow up with Mary Elizabeth. All right. Well, with that being said, any additional questions before we close today's meeting? Any additional comments? Hearing none, I think we're good to conclude our meeting. I really want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today, and we are going to follow up with a recap of today's meeting as well as with the list of action items. So again, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today, and we'll looking forward to seeing you all next month. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
We're happy to get you back.